Hi, my name is Jack Mark. I work in the marketing department here at Horizon Hobby, and I have Mike McConville here with me today from our product development group, the product developer on this project we have in front of us, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about the Hobby Zone Sport Cub S. So to get started, Mike, what was the inspiration behind this product?
The inspiration behind the product, Jack, was really to bring something to market that was the easiest to fly trainer ever done. And that's what the goal was when I started this, and I think that the end result is pretty good. I'm pretty darn proud of this one.
Well, we've heard a lot of buzz about it, people that have been very successful with it, so that's pretty exciting. But when you kind of start a project like this, especially this product specifically, what's that process like? A lot of people don't really get to see behind the curtain, so it's it's cool for them to kind of know what went into this before they got to the point where it opened in the box.
Yep. And something like this, and for just about everything that I work on, I try to start with a clean sheet of paper. It is what we start with is an idea and an inspiration and a goal for how we want it to look and perform, and then take it from there. And something like this, there's really kind of two phases to the development, because this is an airplane with a lot of technology on board, safe technologies on board the airplane, which does an awful lot to enhance an airplane and make it an amazing flying trainer. But to make the best product you can, you got to have you got to have the aerodynamics, the physics, and the technology on board. So really start with the first phase of designing an airplane that flies the best it possibly can fly without any technology on board, and tune the aerodynamics and the design of the airplane to be as good as it can be, then bring the technology on board, and then do a lot of work with the technology to tune it to that airframe, and then the end result is something that's just as good as it possibly can be. And that's kind of the end result.
So that makes a lot of sense. So if technology is an enhancement, then if you start with an already great airplane and you're enhancing it, then you're taking it that much further.
Yep. So
okay, well that's good, because I think sometimes there's sort of a perception like, well, if you have technology that fixes this quirk or that personality of the airplane, then you don't actually have to make a good flying airplane.
Yeah, exactly. And no matter what level an airplane flies at, technology should make it fly better if technology is implemented correctly. If it's not, it could probably do more harm than good, but that's something I think that we're very good at, and that's why we're first to market with this stuff. But wherever you set that bar with the airplane, you're going to go above it. So set it, my goal is to set it as high as we possibly can with the airframe, and that gives us the absolute best product we can in the end.
So talking a little bit about the technology, so this has SAFE technology in it.
Mm-hmm.
We've had different iterations of SAFE from the Apprentice, the first fixed-wing airplane that we came out with SAFE, all the way through the Sukhoi, which was obviously a very advanced 3D airplane with SAFE technology. So if somebody is, well, what kind of SAFE technology is in this? What modes are available to the pilot?
This could probably most be compared to the version of SAFE that's in the Apprentice. It's for beginners. It's designed and configured so that you can't crash it. It's there to stop you from crashing. It has beginner mode, envelopes, so that you can't roll past a certain angle, so you can't get into an angle that's too steep and you get in trouble. If you get disoriented like beginners do and you're learning to fly, you just let go of the stick when you're in that mode, and it levels itself.
Wow.
Intermediate mode, where it has an envelope, but it's bigger, so it lets you fly to bigger angles after you've learned some orientation and control of the airplane, and it doesn't level itself. And so if you let go, it'll stay there, but it has a panic button, or panic trigger. So you hit that button, just press and let go, and the airplane levels itself. And then it has experience mode. When you go to that, it has AS3X on board, like all of our Ultra Micros do now. So you just get that added stability in wind, and so it overcomes the effects of wind and things like that. But it can move. It's free to move in space. It can get upside down. So once you've learned orientation and you're comfortable flying the airplane, you can fly in that mode. There again, when you first make that step and you get there and you're not completely oriented. Every now and then you get disoriented and you give the wrong aileron input and you end up upside down. You've just got the panic button still, so you press that button and it fixes itself.
Wow. So in experience mode, this is very similar, almost identical to our AS3X Ultra Micros. for an experienced pilot.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. So then you're down to just the differences in the airframe, the way the airplane's designed to fly versus some of the other ones. And it's designed to fly slower and lighter because it's a trainer, so you don't want something that's fast.
Sure. So you can go from never having flown an airplane before. Typically, the progression has been you start with a 2-channel trainer or a 3-channel trainer, and then you go buy another airplane to a 4-wing or 4-channel trainer.
Yeah.
And there's kind of this multiple steps before you get to something that can do basic aileron rolls or loops or whatever. And this airplane, it sounds like, is taking some of those steps out by accomplishing some of those things electronically.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of all in one. So you go from that airplane that instead of a 3-channel trainer, you start with a 4-channel trainer, which is an even easier to fly trainer than the old traditional 3-channel. But as you learn and you just fly in different modes, you fly in the experience mode. You've got a very, very capable, mildly aerobatic airplane. So it's all of those rolled into one. So it grows with you. So you don't have to buy 4 airplanes. To get to that point, you can kind of do it all with one.
So speaking of the versatility of the airplane, there's a few other things that we've done, or that you've done to the airplane to increase that versatility even beyond just a basic 4-channel experience.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things we did was make it so you can put floats on it. We already had a float set. A few years ago, we released the UMX Carbon Cub, and we did floats for that. And this is about the same size. It's not the same airplane. There's a lot of aerodynamic differences in it and the way it flies. It's much lighter, but it's about the same size. So the floats work. So we added, you simply pop off the landing gear. The airplane comes with a secondary mount for the back that you can just tack in with a little bit of foam safe CA. And then that float set just installs in 5 minutes, and it works great. I mean, it'll come off of even though it's a 1S system. It's a Brush 1S motor, has lots of power. It comes off water, no problem. I fly it off my neighbor's swimming pool actually with no problem at all.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So now we have an airplane where that progression. Now we've added another airplane where traditionally you would have had to purchase another airplane, and now it's just a float set instead of another airplane. So from not flying anything before, you buy one airplane and then you grow with it through 4-channel flight. You learn to fly full 4-channel, and then add floats, and now you're flying a 4-channel float plane. I guess it's probably worth mentioning too, the first time you fly off of floats, it might be good to go back to a beginner or an intermediate mode and have some of that supporting technology there for.
Yeah, I recommend it. Just have that there. Even though it flies great, it's very stable with the floats on it. It's a really good flying airplane in beginner mode. To be honest, even at my level and years and years of experience, I probably fly it in beginner mode more than any other mode, just because it's such an easy flying airplane. It's just fun to fly in that mode.
That's pretty neat. So there is one more Easter egg.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat. We just shot a video on how to put everything together the other day, but why don't you tell us a little bit about the last little secret that you kind of snuck in there?
Yeah, so the last little secret, and this is actually really a big Easter egg. It's completely ready for the Spektrum Ultramicro FPV system. There's a secret hole in the top, which is all you need. That system just needs to plug into a power cable. So we put a power cable inside the airplane that's connected to the receiver. There's a little hole under this decal. Just cut that out with a hobby knife, get a pair of tweezers and pull that cable out, plug in the camera and a little bit of 2-sided servo tape, mount it right on top, and it's an FPV airplane. And I've actually spent probably from the middle of last summer on, probably 95% of the time I spent flying one of these was flying FPV, because it's such a cool experience, and this is such an ideal airplane for it because of the safe system. It makes flying really easy. I almost always fly it in beginner mode when I'm flying FPV, because it's just so simple. You can kind of just enjoy the view and enjoy the ride and just steer with aileron, and the safe system does everything else for you, so you don't have to worry about kind of getting in trouble, and because it's an unusual orientation because you're flying FPV, because it's pretty different when you first start doing it. So it's just a blast. I've spent hours flying this FPV. And another cool thing about that personal experience I had, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, Grace, who's grown up around this stuff, and she's kind of a typical 14-year-old girl. She doesn't like airplanes very much. Usually rolls her eyes when I say, "Hey, you want to go to the flying field with Dad?" But when I put FPV on this, she was like, "Well, let me see that." And she put them on, and kind of did a ride along while I flew, and then she blew me away when she said, "Can I try it?" I'm like, really? And the really neat experience is, okay, so I put a fresh battery in it and I let her put it in beginner mode, and she actually flew the entire flight beginning to end, never took it from her. And then when she landed, she said, "Can I do it again?" Like, holy moly. So that was, I think that was a great testimony for how easy the airplane is to fly, that she'd never flown. And she soloed on her first try without ever taking, and her second try. And how cool the FPV experience is, to where that, flying a model airplane didn't really appeal to her so much in the traditional way, but FPV she thought was a really cool experience. So that really spoke volumes to me, and it made me really proud as a dad and as a dad of the airplane. So so that was probably the highlight of my summer, actually.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I think that is sort of FPV is sort of a different sort of thing that could get people into the hobby that might not have been interested before, and then who knows where they go from there. So yeah, it's been pretty neat, and we do have, like I said, that instructional video on how to do that if you're interested in doing that yourself. You can find that on fpv-rc.com, and also the product page for the airplane. The last thing that I think we really ought to mention is something that happened pretty recently. We took the airplane to a toy fair in Germany. The largest, I believe, it's an international toy fair, the largest convention of its kind in the world. Very, very significant. Lots of hot competition there, vying to get into store shelves, and it's just a really fantastic, very significant event. And every year, different manufacturers submit their products. And there's over 600 products that are kind of vying for best in their category or whatever. And we were pleasantly surprised to find out that this Sport Cub S won best in the teenage family category, beating out, like I said, over 600 other products, which is pretty significant. So how did you react to that when you found out?
I jumped up and down a little bit. I was really thrilled. And the cool thing about that show too is the Nuremberg Toy Fair is not just an RC show. So this wasn't going up against just our other RC products or RC airplanes. That show has tons of categories from all kinds of traditional toys and electronic games and everything. So it beat out anything that could compete for that award. So that was a really big deal. And it made me very proud that it was recognized by that group as the best in its category. I think that speaks volumes for how good it is. So
yeah, in fact, I think out of all the categories, I think there were only 3 RC products, and I believe that ours was the only one that took first place in its category.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was pretty flattering. So Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time to kind of walk us through the airplane. And then for all of you, if you're interested in learning more about the airplane, I encourage you to visit hobbyzonerc.com. You can learn more about this and other Hobby Zone products. Thanks for watching.